Church. Amen. It's my privilege to be standing in front of you. I'm so happy to be speaking to you. Today is our Ambassador Day. And we are saved to save. So this is that for us to show that we have been saved, we must do something. Right? So you know that from the name of our church itself, it simply shows us that we are waiting for the second coming of Jesus Christ. Right? So we are waiters. What do waiters do? They say, right? Yes. So today is World Ambassador Day. World Ambassador Day. So what is an ambassador? What is an ambassador? An ambassador is someone who is called to represent a specific brand, right? So for one to be regarded as a good ambassador, they must be proud of the brand that they are representing. So it's very, very imperative that we as a church, we must be proud of the brand which we are representing, which is heaven, right? Yes. So before we delve much into our sermon, I'll just ask the chorus to lead us into hymn 99, then we rush into our sermon. Hymn 99, just to sing two verses from that song. Yes. Sure. So the title of our sermon is Saved to Save, a call to avoid compromise. Saved to save, a call to avoid compromise. So if someone open for us from Genesis chapter 19, this is where we are going to be getting much of our discourse. Genesis chapter 19. So maybe as you open your Bibles, let me just give an introduction of this text. So it talks about the city of Gomorrah, where Lot was called to be an ambassador. So you might want to know that Lot was saved together with Abraham from that land where he was called, where they were worshiping idols. And they were called to go into a strange land which they knew not. That's where they started dwelling in the wilderness, as they were dwelling together. And at one point, that's when Lot and Abraham, their servants, started to have some disagreements. And then that's when Abraham said, let there be no strife between my servant and your what? And your servant. Let there be no strife between you and me. choose where you want to go, and I will go the other side. So you might want to know that Lot chose to go into the outskirts of Sodom. So Sodom, it was a very beautiful land, and it was well watered. All plants there were green. Everything was just nice, right? So that's where Lot chose to go. So we want to learn about choosing not to compromise. So you see that Sodom, Gomorrah, these were very, very beautiful places to dwell, right? Yes, but according to the call that they've been given, Abraham and Lot, they've been called to preach to the world that we are not dwellers in this world, but we are just passers-by, right? Yes, so they were called to just be passers-by. So their lecture itself was supposed to stand as a witness that no, we are not citizens of this land, but we are ambassadors of a specific land which is heaven, right? So you might want to know that Abraham and Lot, while they were moving together, they were staying in tents as a witness to show that no, we are not of this world. The people of this world, they were building houses, they were doing all those things that they were doing. But Abraham and Lot, they dwelt in tents. And you may also want to know that Abraham, he was actually a very rich man, and Lot also was rich. But when you compare them, Abraham seemed to be more richer than Lot. There's this fact that interested me when I was reading from chapter 30. It's on verse 4. We'll not read it because of our time. There's this fact that I loved when I was reading my Bible. It showed me that Abraham was richer than Lot. But Abraham had a tent, right? Lot had a tent. It actually interested me. You might also want to know that Abraham, when they were now choosing where to go, Abraham chose that land where no one was dwelling that much, so that he could not influence himself from the bad influences of the people who were in the surrounding lands. Right? Yes, so Abraham chose to continue dwelling in a very secluded land, so that he could not influence himself in the negative things that were done by people that were surrounding. So Lot chose to go into the outskirts of Sodom. So I love God now speaking to Abraham. If we start from Genesis chapter 18, we see God saying, God speaking, is now saying, can I hide anything from Abraham? He's a friend of mine. Whatever I command him to do, he does. Right? Yes. So God had seen the wickedness that was being practiced in Sodom and in Gomorrah. Right? So he decided to tell Abraham about this matter. And Abraham, knowing his mentee Lot, because Lot was mentored by Abraham, right? From a very, very tender age, he was mentored by Abraham. So Abraham was now thinking that Lot could be in Sodom. Of course, he lived near the outskirts of Sodom, but maybe right now he could be in Sodom. And he started interceding for the people of Sodom. And he's now praying to God to say, God, if there are 50 people in Sodom, will you still destroy Sodom? And God himself said that, no, I won't destroy Sodom. If there are 50 people who are righteous, I won't destroy. Goes down. What about if there are 45 people in Sodom who are righteous? I think Abraham, from his perspective, he was thinking that Lot might have done something that may have led to conversion of other people, right? We are called to save. We are not just supposed to be saved on our own, but you are supposed to make an influence, right? So Abraham, as I go through his mind, I think he was thinking that all this time that Lot has dwelt in Sodom, maybe he could have convicted some people. So let me just pray for 40 people. And then God said, I will save Sodom if there are 40 people. It goes down until he reaches 10 people. And it said that we need to say that when God looked for 10 people as a reason for him to save Sodom, and he couldn't find them. So it's a very, very sad thing that when God was looking for people to save in Sodom, just 10 people, or even if Abraham had gone to 5, he wouldn't have found 5 people. We know from studies that 3 people were saved from Sodom. Those 3 people, 2 of them, they had unconsecrated mind. Right? Yeah. So Lot was thinking, I trained my daughters well. I have my virgin daughters. Where you see virgin daughters are brewing beer to make their father drunk so that they can have kids with their father. It's a lot. There was a lot in Lot's life, right? There was a lot in Lot's life. The wife of Lot was even left in Sodom, right? Yeah. So we are called to save, we are called to avoid compromise. So I've been looking at some documents about people who have certain perceptions whenever they are looking at something. When I was reading about the story of the prodigal son, it says that when he was in his father's house, he saw a strange land. And from the way that he was seeing that land, it looked to be a beautiful land, it looked to be a happy land. But you see that now him saying from hindsight that servants in my father's house, they are even happier than I am when I'm here. Right? So we have times whereby we wish for certain things because we are just seeing from a superficial perspective of view. Right? You are there, Lord, you are seeing that this is Sodom, the land is green, all that you can see is just green. You don't even take time to make some assessment about the kind of influences that are there in Sodom. So maybe we can start from Genesis chapter 19, verse 1. If someone can read for us. Chapter 19, verse 1.
Verses 1?
Yes.
And there came 2 angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground.
Okay, thank you for that. So this is Lot. So Lot, okay, can you just read verse 3? Verse 3.
Verse 3.
Yes.
And
verse 2.
Verses 2.
Yes.
And he said, Behold now, my lords,
yes,
take in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up and go all your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night.
Okay, compromise point number 1. Lot was very intense, right? Lot was very intense when he was with Abraham, right? But when Abraham is born, read this one.
And he said, Behold, now my Lord, take in, I pray you, into your servant's house.
Yes. So this was a guy who was very intense, and now that Sodom is slowly coming into him, he's now moving into a house, right? Yes. How many times have we dwelt intense? How many times were we following certain principles? And then when Abraham is now gone, we have now moved from those principles. Right? So this was compromise point number one. So a guy who was staying in the outskirts of Sodom is now found in Sodom. It would have been better if he was pitching a tent, witnessing to people, to show them that this is not our home. We need a better home. But instead of preaching that this is not our home, we need a better home, he's actually saying this is our home. He's actually building a mansion, right? Yes, he is actually now in the comfort zone, right? Yes, he's now in the comfort zone, and slowly he's thinking that no, it's a very, very small issue. So these are servants. So the only thing that made him to be saved from this catastrophe that was befalling Sodom and Gomorrah, it is because of his hospitality. He did not done this. He was going to be destroyed, right? He was going to be destroyed. So, knowing the character of the people that were dwelling in Sodom and Gomorrah, he saw this man and he said, he had learned this from Abraham. Abraham was a very hospitable man. It was a very good trait that he actually got from Abraham to be good to strangers, right? Yes. So I want to just challenge us as a church to say that we may have certain capabilities, certain resources that we have, and may we not intentionally withhold those resources from them who need them, right? Yes. So these people, if they were actually people, they would have been abused by the people of Sodom, right? Yes. But the Lord said to them, please turn into my house and then go your way the next morning, right? But I still wonder how he slept well, knowing that these were the kind of people who were dwelling in this. Let's read the verse where they came, those people. Is it verse 4? Verse 4.
Verses 4.
Yes.
But before they lay down,
yes,
the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. Okay, thank you.
So Sodom was a city of about 100,000 people, according to estimates by Bible scholars. Around 100,000 people, and Gomorrah was also around that population. So I still wonder how they communicated all those men from the city, and how they observed it, and they united in one place to see these men who had visited Lord. I still wonder. So it shows that they had some sophisticated way that they were using of communicating, right? Yes. The people of Sodom, if you go through some studies, you see that the people of Sodom, they invented new ways to see, right? Yes, that was the thing that was on their mind, right? So whenever they are sitting down, they will be thinking, how can I commit this sin in a more efficient way, right? Yes, that's what was on their mind. There was actually a time when it is speculated that they actually had events where they celebrated sin, where someone who sins more efficiently would be given prize money, right? They would actually pay money and they would reward someone who would sin more efficiently than the other, right? Yes, so they have their sophisticated ways of communicating that they are two men who care, right? Yes, so you might want to know that if you add a Y to the name of Sodom, it's something that we don't all want to hear. And it's actually a crime, right? Yes, so it's the only city that I know that if we add a Y to it, it can actually end in jail, right? Yes. So these people, they came and say, sure, give us the men who came into your house. We want to what? We want to know them, right? Yes, we want to know them. So you see that in terms of there was no sin that was too simple for the people of Sodom. Anything that they want to do, they would do without feeling remorseful about it. Right? If you see God Himself coming down to say, I want to see the thing that they are doing, to see what is being said is true, it means that the level of sin had gone to such an extent that it was now unsustainable, and it was now imperative for God to come and destroy these people. So God Himself coming in person to make an assessment on His own, an independent assessment of the situation at Sodom. It means that these people are now going to the other extreme, right? Yes. And yet we have a lot who was there in Sodom. So these are some of the sins that the people of Sodom were committing. They were idle, right? They were idle. So with idleness is accompanied by any form of sin that you can think of, right? Yes, we know we are not in an age where 70% of our teenagers are spending 15 hours a day on social media, right? Scrolling, doing nothing, right? Yes, studies are actually showing that the IQ of our teenagers is much lower than that of us who came before them, right? So we are living in that age, which is becoming almost similar to that of Sodom and Gomorrah, where people, they don't have nothing to do, they are just scrolling on TikTok the whole day, scrolling on TikTok reels of fine jokes, and you know that any kind of sin, you can actually now access any kind of sin on your gadget, right? Idleness. You're just there with your gadgets. There are people who spend hours saying they are busy, and then when you look at the keyboard performance indicators, nothing is done. Idleness, right? So these were the people of Sodom. And they also had pride. They pride because Sodom was a very easy land to make money, right? You could even afford to wait for 1 month and be okay in the way, right? And then this is the money that they would use to fund those sinful activities that they would do, right? Yes. And then another sin that people of Sodom were committing, they were lazy, very lazy people of Sodom, right? Yes, you might remember from chapter 13, it's just because of our time that I will move the able. Yeah, chapter 14, maybe you can just show it on that. Genesis chapter 14. You may want to know about the war that was fought between Amraphel, king of Shinar, Ariel, king of Elasa, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Neshech. They fought against Bera, king of Sodom, and then Bisha, king of Gomorrah, Shinar, king of Adama, and Shemba, king of Zeboim. You may want to know that Sodom and his other allies, Bera, king of Sodom and his other allies, they were defeated this man. These were lazy people, so you can't have people from Sodom going to war and thinking they will win, right? They were defeated this man, right? Abraham, with his army of 300 people who were trained in the fear of the Lord, they came and defeated the army that had defeated a king of Gomorrah and his allies, right? Yes. So you might also want to know that when this war was happening, Bela, king of Sodom, he fell into a pit, right? He fell into a pit, and that's when Abraham came and they fought and won this war. So this war was won by Abraham, whilst Bela, king of Sodom, was watching from a pit, right? Was watching from a pit, and all of a sudden, when he saw that Abraham is won, he then says, just give me the people and take all the gold. Like, what do you mean? We were watching from a pit, just coming from a pit and trying to claim people whom I rescued and trying to claim them as your own, right? So that was how lazy they were, the people and the people of Sodom. And then they what we call pleasure madness. So daily and daily they would go to another extent to deplete their dopamine levels, right? Dopamine thresholds, right? Yes, to just seek pleasure, be it from cocaine, be it from any form of thing that will give them pleasure. They would go to another extreme each and every day. So their wickedness was very much profound. It was very much profound. Maybe for critics, to show that the story of Lot in Sodom, it actually happened. You can read from Matthew chapter 17, verse 28 to verse 29. So you want to know that Jesus was accused of many things, but one thing that he has never been accused by any religion that you can think of was of being a liar. There are some people who say that he is not the Son of God, he is not God, but there is no religion that says Jesus ever lied. Even if you go to Islam to talk to them, they will tell you that whatever he said is true. So if Jesus is saying from Luke chapter 17, verse 28 to 29, if he's saying that a place called Sodom, a person called Lot actually existed, it means it's something that actually happened, right? It means it's something that actually happened. So if we go on with our chapter, Genesis chapter 19, Lot has done his hospitality, and he's now being told to move from this city because it is going to be what? It is going to be destroyed. Let's read from this 6. This 6. So these men, they came in one accord and they wanted to rape the visitors of Lot. They wanted to abuse them. Let's read from verse 6.
Verse 6.
Yes.
And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him.
Yes.
And said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known men.
Okay.
Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your heart. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they are under the shadow.
Alright. So we now see that Lot is now slowly being consumed by the influences of Sodom. He has no problem if his daughters are abused. Right? It's another point of compromise that you can see there. And then we can read from verse 9. Verse 9.
This is 9.
Yes.
And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will you deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed so upon the men, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
Okay. So the men are now trying to break into the house of Lot. And they are saying, whatever they are saying about your daughters is nonsense. They get out of our way so that we can get these men and do what we want to do to them. So this shows that these people were now wicked, right? And this shows that these people were now their wickedness was so profound, right? Yes. And then we see that the angel then rescued he struck the man with blindness, so that Lord can exit the seat, right? And go to a nearer place, right? Yes. So these angels, they knew who they were going to rescue, right? Yes, they knew that we are just going to rescue someone who is righteous, right? Yes. And someone who is righteous, who is going to be rescued, is actually worried about the son-in-laws. I don't know, maybe the son-in-laws were actually part of these people who wanted to abuse the men who had come. And you are saying, my sons-in-law, they are there, you want to live with them, right? Yes. So Lot was actually hesitant, right? He was actually hesitant of leaving the city of Sodom. So when they were struck with blindness, and then Lot tried to go and rescue his sons-in-law, he wanted them to be saved also, and then it was like a joke to them, and then they had no choice but to leave, and then they are on their way with their wife and their 2 daughters, and then he wants to what? Excuse me. And then he's being told to go to a hill. He's being told to go to a hill. Let me just look at this verse. When he's told to go to a hill, he says, no, you see, I'm very old. I can't even reach that place, right? I can't even reach that place. Please let me go to this city called Zora, which is nearby, right? Yes, it's another point of compromise. The angel knows, because this angel had been sent by God. He knew that Lord should have had some faith to know that God could actually give him strength, even though he is not old. He can actually go to the place that he has been told to go. But his faith was too much, and it was too weak. He was so hesitant. A whole city is going to be burnt. 2 whole cities are going to be burnt. And you are saying, let me just go to this other city which is nearby. Right? Yes. So, God is trying to save us from our sins. Right? Yes. But us being told to leave those sins, we are saying, let me just go to another one which is just close to that one. And they are not even very much different. Right? They are not even very, very much different. Right? Yes. So, refusing to go to a faraway city, he then ended up going to what? To Zora, that place, and then Sodom was finally what? It was finally destroyed. So if you read some accounts, they actually say that the Dead Sea, which is the lowest point on sea level, the lowest point on sea level, the Dead Sea, about 427 meters below sea level. That's where the Dead Sea is situated. There's no, when you're in the Dead Sea, there's no going down this, or it's just going up this, down. And it has a salinity of about 34.2%, right? Yes, it means that not many animals can survive to live in that sea. And it's not a sea, it's just a salt lake, right? Yes, it's a salt lake. In Bathurst, they float there, every place you can go and just float on that Dead Sea. So it's a very, very famous place to visit. Millions visit that place year by year, the Dead Sea. So it's actually believed that the saltiness of the Dead Sea is actually from the people who were destroyed through that fire process, right? Yes, it's actually believed that salinity is from those bodies where they were then disposed after they were buried. Those are just speculations, right? Those are just speculations. So this just shows the result of wanting to compromise when it's not necessary. Whenever God says something, it must be our resolve as people of God, as ambassadors of Christ, and we must be representatives of Christ in whatever we do, right? Christ's object lesson says religion and business are not separate, but they are one. Meaning to say that the principles that you apply in your business, they are the same principles that you apply in your religion. So don't call yourself a Christian if you are not honest in your business, right? Yes. So I was at this other church, which I cannot mention, where they were saying, but this good elder, this is a very good elder when it comes to church, right? But when it comes to business, he doesn't want to pay his employees, right? Yes. So business and religion, they are not separate. Actually, the book Education says every age of life is a revelation of courage. Right? Yes. So there's importance in being consistent in whatever you are doing. Whatever you do, be it in business, be it in your marriage, be it in whatever you do, be it your assignments, everything that you are called to do, you must do it honestly and you must be diligent. Because there is a God who is watching and is recording with what is recording terrible examples. Right? I think as I just conclude, I want to talk about Lot's wife. Right? There is actually a verse which says, remember Lot's wife, right? Must be Luke chapter 17, verse 32 or so. We say that, remember Lot's wife. So what is it about Lot's wife that is very special? We just know that she turned back and she became a pillar of salt, right? But that was not all, right? If you read in the book Patriarchs and Prophets, it actually says that Lot's wife, she was very selfish in a way, right? They are being told to leave Sodom. But Lot's wife was thinking about all the wealth that she's living in Sodom and Gomorrah, right? That's what she was just thinking about. She wasn't thinking that God would give them even much more than they got, right? She was thinking about the property that she had left in Sodom. She was thinking about, her mind was attached to Sodom, right? Yes. So there's this quote that I just thought about. I say that if we are not faithful in letting go, we are not ready to carry the weight of the future, right? If we are not faithful in letting go of things that God is telling us to let go, we are not ready to carry the weight of the future, right? So God is calling us to let go of many things, right? For us to be in heaven and have a nice conversation with people like Moses, what can you do? If your life, you don't have nothing that you gave up, and there is a Moses who gave up a throne to the most powerful nation at that time, what stories will you be talking with Jesus, right? Yeah, because Jesus, no one will be tempted up to 1% of how Jesus was tempted, right? You can read it in December 8. No one will ever be tempted 1% of the way Jesus was tempted, right? And even talk about people like Daniel. How will you have a conversation with people like Daniel? When God wants to compare Satan, he said, Satan, you are more wiser than Daniel, right? Meaning to say that on all this earth, when God is trying to find someone who is wise to compare with Satan, he finds Daniel, right? So, what are you going to sacrifice, my dear friend? What are you going to give up so that when we go to heaven, you have something to say, right? Yes, there's a passage in the book Education which says that every human being may choose whatever companionship that he may desire. By reading the Bible, you can actually have the companionship of Daniel. You can actually have the companionship of Melchizedek. You can actually have the companionship of Elijah by reading the Bible, right? So if you are not reading the Bible, you are going to find yourself a stranger in heaven. You want to return the next day because it will be a very strange place for you, right? Yes. So I just want to challenge us to say, God is calling us to avoid compromise. God is calling us to follow Him blindly. We can trust in Him. He has done it in the past and He can do it now. Right? So it pains me to see that Lot's hesitance is the one that actually resulted in his wife's loss of salvation. Right? I just want to challenge you as we are not telling you to pray that your hesitance in doing the Lord's things will result in someone losing salvation. Lot's wife lost salvation because her husband was taking lightly the things of God, negotiating all those funny things. I just want to tell you that your hesitate one day is going to result in someone losing their salvation. As we are about to pray, I want to ask all that are saying that God, you called us to be ambassadors in whatever field that we have been called. Help us to be good and right ambassadors of heaven. Heaven is counting on us. May we not let heaven down. So if they are there who are saying, when you have blessed me, I want to be a good ambassador. If they are there, may we stand and then we have a moment of prayer. Okay, let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we want to bless your name for speaking to us about compromise. And now as we think in hindsight about Lord in this family, may you help us that we may remain steadfast on what you taught us in your word and all those things that you teach us through your providence, that when after following these principles we may not be lost. Help us to avoid a compromise at all costs. We see that Lot's wife was not saved partly as a result of Lot being hesitant when you gave warnings. Help us, Lord, to be steadfast and to be good ambassadors. We want to thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good afternoon, church. We have a special collection that we have this afternoon. So our pathfinders are going for a camp Ori, and they are in need of money. Our budget, we are not meeting our budget, so we want to extend our calling to you as our church members to assist us as we collect the second offering for this special offering. So I'm going to ask Tali to stand up. So Tali is our Pathfinder leader. So for those that may not have money now, probably would like to bring it in the afternoon, you may see her and give the monies to her. She's responsible for our children here. We may also see Uncle Lady. Uncle Lady is in the corner there for those that may not see talent, but these are going to be responsible for the funds that we are looking for. So I'm going to kindly ask the deacons and the deaconess to be at the door as we are finding out, as we are being led music by Brother Kamunda. We may just drop our offers there, and if we need to come with it in the afternoon, we may see the people that I have identified. Thank you very much, and may God bless you as you extend to the Lord for the advancement of His gospel through our children ministries. We may lead us in this.
Hymn 131, sing it in Shona. Na Jesus, Re